That Queen Bee show, though, man, my God.
I can't believe we saw it in person.
I can't believe they let us in.
I can't believe they didn't kick us out.
We were real out there when we finally showed up. So, God, life changing. It's like Woodstock '69.
Memories, they'll always be there.
I'm Nick Bell.
And I'm Drew Helland. And you're listening to Half Done Podcast. Thanks for tuning in this week.
Welcome back, everybody. Been a little bit, but God, we've been pretty busy. South Dakota's been a little wild for us lately.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening statewide. Weather-wise, a lot has happened. It's finally spring. Actually, we might just skip spring and go straight into summer. It felt super hot today.
Yeah, actually, it was pretty damn nice today. Hell, even Monday, with the exception of yesterday, past few days, it felt really good. So hopefully it keeps up like that, and we don't have to revert back. I'm not going to be opposed if we just go straight into summer, though.
Yeah, me either. The other day we had a bonfire with some friends over, and it was real nice. It had been a while since I've been at a bonfire.
That does sound awesome. The last bonfire I had was in the winter while I was camping, so it was more of a necessity fire than a bonfire.
No, I got you. Yeah, we the brochachos were over, so we cracked open some brew chachos. Got the old hot dog on a stick. All the fun stuff.
The night was for the boys.
Yeah, well, there were a couple ladies there, so yeah.
I dig it. Yeah, I did not. I biked. I got to break out my bike finally. It's been, I think, beginning of November was last time I got a ride, so might have overdone it though right away. I really pushed for quite a while, pushed some mileage, and my hips were pretty sore afterwards. So
Do you go on the bike path in Sioux Falls? Or for the listeners not from Sioux Falls, like our city has like a exceptional bike path.
yeah, it's awesome. We got like 27 miles or something like that, a trail that they have, and they're actually adding it. I do go on the bike path to answer your question. But yeah, they got like 27 miles almost, I think it is, and then they're adding another section that is supposed to be open this summer. So it's pretty sweet. It for those of you that are picturing it, it wraps all the way around the city, follows the river quite a bit of it. I mean, it's a nice trail. It's one of the better things I think they have in town.
Oh, definitely. We should do like a remote while we bike on the bike path.
We could bike a ways and then just randomly, it'd be like a segmented one. We'll just stop. They have a bunch of little like checkpoint things with benches and stuff. We could just stop at each and go from there.
That'd be kind of cool. We'd probably learn a lot about each other and about the city. Yeah.
And I have a bell on my bike that's really obnoxious, and so I can make sure people get the hell out of our way when we're going.
Oh yeah. Are you more of a bell guy or like the clown horn kind of guy that you have to squeeze?
I'm a bell guy. I've actually never had a bell or any sort of noise thing on a bike I've owned until I got one for Christmas, and I put it on there. And actually, it's pretty slick. I used it a few times. It's easier than yelling at everyone while you're passing. So if you just hit it, everybody just immediately jumps out of the way.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, the coolest like accessory my bike ever had was just a water bottle holder.
I just got one of those too. So I'm a growing up in the world.
Nice. Speaking of bikes and stuff, the first bike I ever got was a Tasmanian Devil bike. Because it was like a Space Jam bicycle. Do you have any like early biking memories?
My first bike that I remember that I had the training wheels on it, and then I got the training wheels off. It was a red bike, and it had like that black pad thing around it. I don't think there was anything on it special. I can't even remember the brand.
Yeah.
And then when I got a little bit older, I outgrew that, and then I got my cousin's old bike for a short little bit. It was this old used single gear beater. I had that for a few years, and then I graduated. I had I had a Trek bike for a long time, and then I retired her. I put her to rest, R.I.P. And then I actually got my new bike here. It was Trek one again. Just or actually no, my old one. Sorry, my old one was a Magna. My yellow one. I had that for like 10, 12 years, and then I got my new one, which is a Trek bike, just towards the end of last summer. So it's pretty sweet. I haven't had any cool though Tasmanian Devil bikes yet.
Yeah. Hey, maybe someday, right?
I could just get some stencils and put them on the side of it.
There we go. Um, that's funny. Yeah. It was perfect because I used to live on the cul-de-sac, so that's like like early biking was perfect because my mom didn't have to worry about us like going into like a street really because not that many cars came into the cul-de-sac. So that was kind of cool. But I remember constantly scraping my knee and like hitting fire hydrants and stuff.
Yep, I gotten quite a few wrecks. My parents can attest to that. So, I don't think we have enough time for a full episode of the amount of bike accidents and dumb things I did with my bike growing up. So, fortunately, I've mellowed it down a little bit when it comes to biking, but I think it's good for everybody to get hurt on their bikes at least, a dozen or more times. Teaches you good life lessons.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like you have to fall to pick yourself up and to, you know, just even early I mean, that's like probably the first brave thing you do is in your life is like take off the training wheels, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I totally agree. But kind of a segueing into like injuries and stuff like you were saying. Have you ever broken a bone? And and if so, how many?
That's a real good question. I've broken multiple bones. As far as exact numbers, I'm trying to think. I'm not 100% sure exactly how many bones I've broken because I've only really gotten a few of them looked at.
Oh, sure.
So like I've broken several fingers. I had one of them actually I had to get casted. I popped the other couple back in place. Same with I broke a toe before. I broke my wrist when I was real little. Second grade actually. I was on the swings with one of my buddies. It was a tandem swing. Do you remember those?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. So I was on the swing with my buddy, and I just look at it and I go, check this out. And I let go. And then I just remember momentum is a thing, and that's when I learned about it. I just kept going off the back of it and fell down, broke my wrist. Let's see what else. Broke my fingers. I mean, I blew out my knee. I didn't really have any like fragmenting a bone or broke any bone there. I may or may not have broken a rib at some point though. I'm not 100% sure on that. It's just someone told me when I was doing my like physical therapy training and stuff like that. Someone was showing me some massage stuff, and they were doing it on my back, and they're like, "Dude, you have like a rib out of place back here?" I was like, I don't know. He's like, "Did you break it?" I was like, "I don't know." So maybe I don't know.
That's funny. The reason I ask is because when we were having that bonfire, we had a friend come over and we were talking about like injuries and stuff. And well, actually, we were talking about cocaine, but that's kind of a long story. But anyway, cocaine may or may not have been involved. But
in the evening.
Yeah, no, not that night. But this person I know, he's only broken one bone in his body, and it was his skull. He fractured his skull. So it was kind of funny.
Have you ever broken any?
Yeah, in 2004, I was playing some good old backyard baseball with some friends, and I slid into second base, and I broke my thumb. So that had to be cast, and it was kind of funny because the doctors worried that because it was right next to a growth plate, they were like telling me like you might have like a dwarfed thumb for the rest of your life, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I mean it's fine. So
there's no dwarfed thumb of yours there.
No, I'm good. But it was kind of funny because I can show you this. But I used to like go like this to my mom. and just like scare, but like push one thumb higher than the other to those who can't see what I'm doing right now.
And if anybody out there has a mom, they understand that you can freak moms out with injuries pretty quick when you're growing up.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I broke my thumb, and my mom actually wasn't in town, so I went to my dad and I was like, "Hey, I broke my hand," and he's like, "No, you didn't." I was like, "But look, it's like all swollen and stuff." He's like, "Just put some ice on it." So then 2 days later, we were because it was my left hand, so I didn't use it that often. But my mom, she handed me something, and I totally just dropped it, and I was like, I don't know if I was crying, but I was like, that like really hurt and stuff. And she's like, well, like why? I was like, because I broke my hand. And she's like, well, when did this happen? Like, why didn't you tell me this? And she got like really mad at my dad because, I don't know, but like to give my dad some credit, like, I don't know, like they were just from a different generation where they probably broke stuff all the time and never had it looked at. So.
Yeah, I remember when I broke my wrist. Same kind of deal. I was at the park, and it was actually a Cub Scout event. It was back when I was in Cub Scouts, and so my mom and sister were out of town, and my dad was at the thing with me, and it was at the end when I broke it too. So
sounds like a very similar circumstance.
Very much so. Mom's gone, and I fell off, and I go up to my dad and whining. He's like, "What? Like, what are you whining?" I was like, "My wrist, blah blah blah," and I was like crying about it. So we went home first, and I remember putting some ice on it, like the swelling wasn't going down. So they had like a old wrist brace or something, and he just put my hand in a wrist and was like, all right, let's go to the clinic. So then we had to just sit there. We sat in the regular clinic for a bit, and they checked in. They're like, oh yeah, we broke it. And I'm not 100%, but I'm fairly positive my mom didn't know I broke it until she and my sister got home, which is perfect because it's like a lot of my injuries when my mom's been gone. When I blew my knee out when I was in high school, my mom was also out of town, and my dad had to drive and pick me up, and we waited to call my mom until after we had already been to the clinic. No ER, that stuff's expensive.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean we love our moms, of course, but like, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes you don't want to make your mom worry about something,
Because that's all moms do is worry anyway. Yeah. So why stress them out more than they need to? What's done is done. It's not like they can go back and fix it, but God knows they're going to worry about it.
Exactly.
So, with that perfect segue about us really loving our moms.
Yes.
Movie season is about to hit.
Yeah. And Mother's Day is movie season, right?
That's how we're tying it in. All wraps around full circle. Yeah, big movie time coming up. We got this weekend, is a lot of our listeners probably are aware, because I feel like we got a lot of nerd listeners, which we appreciate because we are ourselves.
Yes.
Avengers Infinity War comes out.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Don't hate me, but I actually am not excited because I haven't seen so many of the movies. Because I haven't seen Black Panther, I haven't seen like a couple of the Thor movies. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't understand a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
But from what I read is like it's supposed to be like, the next Titanic or whatever. Just like huge like numbers.
Oh, okay. I was like, if you're comparing it to Titanic, that might offend me.
No. Yeah. Well, you know what I meant. Yeah. Like it's gonna be the next like huge movie or whatever. So.
Oh yeah.
Titanic was huge AF.
But from the couple scenes I've seen of Titanic, because I've never watched the movie.
Seen it? Oh, really? Okay.
No, I've never seen Titanic. I actually actively refuse to watch it. It just seems like a sappy, crappy love story, cheesy thing, and it looks like it's just a really long movie.
It is.
I already know how it ends. The boat goes down, and she pushes him off the door.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you should watch it someday in your life, but
I've committed to never watching it, so I can't.
Right. I mean, props to you, I guess.
I had a couple girls that kind of exes, or I used to see, whatever you want to call it, that were like big Titanic fans, and that was always their goal, was to get me to watch it. And guess what? Didn't happen. Spoiler alert.
That's funny. So what were the two scenes that you saw that makes you think it's not like Titanic? Oh wait, you were talking about Titanic scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant Avengers scenes. Never mind.
Yeah, no. As far as Avengers goes, I'm pretty pumped for it. But like, I understand what goes on in their whole thing. I've seen quite a few of the movies in theaters. I haven't seen all their movies in theaters.
Yeah.
But I'll go and see this. I'm not gonna be one of those that pre-ordered my ticket weeks ago, months ago, whenever, since literally, at least here in town, I couldn't go and see it. I don't think the first ticket I could probably find is going to be till like late Saturday.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to go Sunday matinee.
Cool.
I'll give it a few days and I just won't pay attention to the internet.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't. I feel like Twitter is like the cesspool of like spoilers and like assholes.
That's why, I don't do social media, but I've never actually had a Twitter. So
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's a lot of fun spoilers out in the world. Even I was just actually, I don't know if it was you I was talking to, but someone I was talking to about the Harry Potter books and how someone spoiled like one of the books for me because the book had come out a couple years already.
Oh, yeah.
But it was before the movie came out, and I was it like 5 or 6? I can't remember. But some kid in my English class is like, "Oh yeah, did you know that blah blah blah, blah 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 at the end of the book?" And I was like, "What?" So,
I feel like we could say it now since they've been out for like a decade plus.
yeah, it was about Snape dying. No, I mean Dumbledore dying.
Oh yeah. Yeah, both. Yeah, both are gimmies. I'm trying to think. This is always a debate that people have. When's like I feel like for movies. Let's just go with movies for instance. I feel like 18 months, 1 year to 18 months from time it's in the theaters
Yeah.
is an okay time to like openly discuss spoilers with people that around people that may or may not have seen it.
Oh yeah, totally. Which is funny because I actually I was watching this movie with this girl and we were talking about just like fantasy and like sci-fi and stuff, and she told me that she had never seen any of the Star Wars. So I said, "Do you know anything about them?" And she's like, "No." And I said, "Anything about them?" She said, "No." So I don't think she knows like the biggest spoiler of all time.
Oh my God.
So I was like in my head I was thinking like I really want to watch this with her just to see her reaction because that's like the best, like in number 2.
Did you just like shut the door or something like that and say, "Hey, we're not leaving for about 6 hours"?
Yeah, well she had it was pretty late already, but
Unimportant.
I feel like I'm never gonna have that again unless I like have children, and like those are the only people I can watch because I feel like, I thought everyone in.
I mean, it's a pop culture thing. Like everybody's got to know it. It's just common knowledge. I feel that blows my mind.
Oh, totally. It blew my mind too. Unless she was just lying. I mean, she was probably maybe because like who hasn't heard like Luke, your father.
Or she didn't realize she knows the spoilers. Like maybe that's it. She just didn't know that she knows the spoiler.
Maybe she doesn't know that was really important.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, because it's so common.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like you can't not hear it somewhere at some time.
Well, and another thing is like Star Wars to like our generation, the ones that came out when we were kids were the prequels. And in every one of those, it talks about him being, like kind of pretty much showing the fall of Anakin. So that is kind of kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Oh, there's a Han Solo movie coming out, right? Is that this summer?
I think I'm pretty sure that's this summer. There's that coming out.
What's your thoughts on that? Will you see it?
Honestly, I'll probably see it. It's one of those. There's very few movies I'll go to like immediately.
Yeah.
So what I'll probably do, what I like with movies, I'm even up on the air on where I'm like, I'll spend the money if it's good. I'll let other people see it for like a week.
Yeah.
I'll give it like the first weekend or whatever, and then I'll ask some people because I mean we both know the same people that are gonna go and see the movie as soon as they possibly can. So then you just call them, hey, is it worth me going to? And they'll either say, yeah, absolutely, you got to go. Perfect. You go the next weekend when it's not crowded. Or they go, dude, don't even bother. And you saved yourself $10.
Exactly. Yeah, movies are expensive. I went to Isle of Dogs, that animated movie. Have you seen those trailers at all?
I don't think so, no.
So it takes place in Japan.
Oh, is it the Wes Anderson one?
Yep, exactly. I saw that with my roommate John last week. And it was funny because he bought like a popcorn and a slushie, and the lady's like, "That'll be $20." He's like, "What is there gold in this?" But what she did, what he didn't realize, was she also put the ticket in that price too. But still, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy. Yeah, I usually there's like certain movies that I'll go to in like main theaters, like Avengers or a Deadpool. I'm pumped for Deadpool too. Like that movie, like those type of movies, I'll probably go see in the main theaters, and I'll try to go see them relatively soon, so I'm not, spoiled on them.
Yeah.
But a lot of other movies, I'll either wait to see, or if there's something I'm not concerned about getting spoiled for, but I would like to see them in theaters, I just wait till they get to the cheap theater, and you can get $3 ticket, and you can go see it, and it's never crowded.
yeah, no, exactly. I agree. Have you seen Black Panther yet? Or
Yep. I went and saw that when it came out. I really enjoyed it.
see, that's one that I've been waiting to watch. And I don't know if there's any huge spoilers in that at all, but I feel like I know nothing of the plot, which is cool because that movie was huge.
Yeah. There's nothing. I mean, spoilers. There's nothing too crazy spoiler in there. I mean, when you're watching it, you kind of see where things are going. So you have like a kind of general sense, but it was really good. And I mean, it's probably about cheap theater time. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna see it, I mean, I would see it in the cheap theater.
Yeah, definitely. Or even are there still red boxes around? I feel like Netflix kind of destroyed that.
I've honestly watched movies that other people have gotten from a Redbox, but I've never used one.
Yeah.
So I have no idea.
In high school, I mean, this was right at the time where Blockbusters were closing and stuff. In high school, like every weekend, like we like just got a red box with our buddies and stuff because it was so cheap. It was like $1. So kind of cool, but I mean, streaming pretty much killed that.
Yeah.
I don't even. Do you think people will even like buy DVDs anymore?
Well, I know like Blu-ray and stuff. People are still buy those a lot.
Yeah.
And that.
Just because the quality.
Yeah, I think quality, and then there's something. I mean, I know people that really enjoy buying the movies. They like having the physical copy because then they're not tethered down, hey, our internet goes out, or I have to worry about the streaming. They just always have it.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Yeah. And there's like, for me anyway, there's certain movies that like I have that I bought. There's like only ever a handful where I'm like, yes, I need to own that because I just really like that movie.
Yeah.
Because then you always have it. But for the most part, I think people always buy them. I don't know. I'd be curious to see how many people are buying physical copies though.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's a lot lower. I mean, just like CDs, because I mean everything is just going digital. So.
Yeah.
But that is a good point. We bought all like the Lord of the Rings and like the Batman movies, the Batman Begins series, just because like, we were like we know we're gonna want to own these ones. So I agree with you on that point.
Yeah. There's just certain movies, and then there's certain movies too that like you enjoy that are just hard to find.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Even I went to the library once to try to find a movie. Just because we couldn't find it on any of the streaming things or on YouTube or anything, and they didn't have it. It's like, oh, I guess we can't find it.
Dude, actually, the library when I was a kid, that was like we used to get a lot of movies from the library when I was growing up, because they had ours anyway where I grew up had a pretty strong selection of movies, and then it didn't cost to get them because you had a library card so you could just check them out.
Oh, totally. Kind of a funny story. A buddy of mine, who that I went to high school with, at our library you could do self-checkouts. So he would check out like not like dirty movies, but like movies where there was like nudity, just so you know, at the sleepover we could watch some, Naked Chains.
Oh, back to being pubescent boy.
Yeah, but a lot of them were like horror movies, like movies we shouldn't even be watching. Like,
Oh, you could always watch a horror movie.
yeah, but I mean, it's like I don't know. When I definitely get, it's funny because I love horror movies now, but they definitely used to like really like mess with my head.
You know what movie that you've told me you won't watch, you should watch? It's on, I saw that it was on HBO Go.
Is it the one movie that it will never watch?
It is. You should watch The Exorcist if you like horror movies.
See, the thing is, so that movie came out when it must have been late 70s or
I think late 60s, early 70s. It's been out for a long
oh,
time.
really? Okay, so my parents were like children or teenagers or whatever, and they told me that my mom told me like stories of like some of her friends, that watched it, and they were like I think she told me like one of her friends saw it and when she was like 20 years old or whatever. So it might have been after it came out for a while, and she said for like a whole month she had to sleep in her like parents' bed with them. This is a 20-year-old girl. And I don't know. I just don't want to put myself through that.
Like hearing stories about movies like that, like that's the type. I mean, The Exorcist I really enjoy it. It doesn't freak me out to that level. I've never, other than like when I was a real little kid, I haven't really gotten ever freaked out like that to a movie.
Yeah.
I just crave. I want that sometime. I want to find that movie that just truly knocks me off my socks and just freaks me out because that sounds awesome.
Totally. I agree. And I'm sure The Exorcist, like watching it, like kind of, well, I mean, we're so desensitized. Does it look pretty dated? Or
No, it holds up real well.
Okay, cool. That's cool. But recently, Mike, my brother and I, we were reading some article where it was talking about this new movie on Netflix called Veronica, how it's like the scariest movie ever. Mike and I watched it, hoping to be like scared and stuff. Like, wasn't even that scary.
I'm glad you guys watch it because somebody told me that same thing too, and I was like, I don't trust your opinion yet.
Can I spoil it or give okay, spoiler alert to people that haven't seen it. But okay, so there's this one scene, and the one scene that was scary, it happened during the daytime, so it's like you're totally not expecting it, and it was total body horror, like gore. Oh. And that's the kind of stuff that like really gets me. I like the suspenseful like scares and stuff, but some stuff I just like I have to look away if it's like really like disgusting, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm trying to think. There's like certain movies out there that kind of wig me out. Have you ever seen? It's Dead Alive, also known as Brain Dead. It's actually Peter Jackson's very first movie he ever made.
Really?
Yep, huh. And it's crazy. I own it. We should watch it sometime. Yeah, let's do it. Like the gore in that is ridiculous. It's advertised as the goriest movie ever made, and it still might be.
Oh wow, that's cool. Probably as in terms of like the scariest movie I've ever seen, I think it's probably The Conjuring. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Did that get you at all?
No. It was better than I was expecting because I had such low expectations for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. My favorite horror movie of all time, it's like a horror comedy, is An American Werewolf in London.
Oh, okay.
That movie's just classic. But I'm trying to think of like movies that really got to me. And it hasn't been since I was like a kid that things have really like freaked me out. Mm-hmm. Remember the original Friday the 13th. I watched that. I think I was in like 4th grade or something. Oh, and I'd been bothering my dad for like, because I'd always watch like horror movies and stuff with my uncles, my cousins, and I was like, they were always like, either I'd have to look away during the movies or something like that or whatever. So I was like, Dad, I really want to watch a horror movie. He's like, I have one. Like he had one picked out in his mind. He's like, I'll find it and we'll watch it. I remember 4th grade sitting down and it terrified me. Yeah. Oh my God. And then we watched it, or then I watched it there a few months afterwards with 2 of my buddies, and it was terrifying. But then our dads also snuck in behind us with ski masks on and jumped at us. Oh, so that just traumatized us. But that was probably the last time I've truly been freaked out by a horror movie. Yeah, I'd say that's about it.
Yeah, I feel like our generation just eats that stuff like it's no one's business.
Yeah. Well, you're so used to like any horror movie I think of now. It's just jump scare shit.
Exactly. And I mean, and you can't stop that. You're gonna get scared, you know. I feel like for the most part,
It's so
not
problematic.
scared, but you're gonna jump. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so problematic to me because I mean they've always been to an extent predictable, but they've become even more and more so predictable. I mean, you know a jump scare is going to happen because they start getting loud music
Yeah.
and they're trying to crank up the music, and it's just a mile a minute scares is what they're going for, and it's just boring after a bit. And I like a suspenseful. I want the things to build. I don't even want to see whoever or whatever the thing is supposed to be that's really traumatizing you.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that till the second half of the movie. Build it up. Like make me terrified.
Totally. And yeah, and I mean, in an instance like that, it looks like we're running out of time here, but in an instance like that, it's pretty much like your imagination just like it just roams and it like creates like the biggest baddest like mofo like ever.
Exactly. Well, on that note,
Happy note. Yeah, a happy note to end on today.
on that note, we'll kind of wrap things up. Per usual, keep checking back with us. Every couple of weeks, we got a new one coming out for you. Hit us up on the Instagram, the Facebook, Twitter, everything. Check out our YouTube page. Check out our website. The website's halfdonepodcast.wix.com or something like that. And all the social media is under Half Done or Half Done Podcast. Let us know what you think. Shoot us some comments messages, whatever.
We should do this every week, but comments of the week. What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Yeah.
Comment that either on YouTube or our Facebook or any of our socials.
Yep. Hit us up and let's chat about it. Get involved with us. Put some good stuff in there. If we haven't seen it, hell, maybe we'll watch it beforehand so we can talk about it.
Exactly. I'm Drew Helland.
And I'm Nick Bell, and you've been tuned into the Half Done Podcast.